Relations strained further between the government and the Democratic Party. The United States invites Xi Jinping for state visits. And high-level talks in Moscow to tackle the Ukraine crisis.
Good evening. Government sources have revealed that principal officials have been ordered to boycott the Democratic Party's 20th anniversary dinner at the end of the month. Chief Secretary for Administration Carrie Lam insists whether officials attend the function or not would not affect their working relationship with the party's lawmakers. In what could be a sign of worsening relations, the supposed ban comes after Democratic Party lawmaker Albert Ho announced he would trigger a de facto referendum on political reform by resigning from LegCo. Government sources say the anniversary dinner is a fundraiser for the party, which has called on the chief executive to step down, so it makes no sense for principal officials to attend. But two bureau chiefs have said they would go, including former Democratic Party Vice Chairman Anthony Cheung. Now the Secretary for Transport and Housing, Cheung today refused to further comment on the issue, only saying that he has agreed to attend the event. Secretary for Food and Health Ko Man confirmed that the government has held internal discussions about this. He said he too has agreed to go, but that he will follow the government's final collective decision. Chief Secretary for Administration Carrie Lam refused to say if she would be going. She insisted whether officials attend social events held by political parties would not affect their working relationship with legislators. Take constitutional reform, for example, she said. We will continue to try to communicate with the Pan-Democrats. Democratic Party Chairwoman Emily Lau said her party respects its guests' decisions whether they would attend its functions. But she said if it's a government order to declare an all-out war with the party, then that's a different story. Lau said she has yet to see which is the case. She added that this month, officials in charge of constitutional reform had rejected her invitation to discuss the topic on Lau's web radio talk show, saying it was not the right time.
Travellers flying out of Hong Kong may have to pay a fee towards the construction of the airport's third runway. And as Evelyn Leung reports, the airport authority is facing a legal challenge to the project.
The third runway at the airport could be completed in 2023 at the earliest, at a cost of more than $130 billion. But in the latest twist to the saga, a judicial review has been filed against the controversial project. Yesterday, two people submitted the application to the High Court, asking it to quash the Environmental Protection Department's decision to approve the runway's environmental impact assessment report and to issue a permit for the expansion plan. They accused the Director of Environmental Protection of unlawfully exercising power in approving the report that did not meet the requirements in assessing the impact of noise and air quality.
I think the judicial review is a right of the people. We have not taken into account how long it would take for the JL to be completed, but we hope that everything will be done very soon.
Fong added that Hong Kong needs the new runway because the two existing ones will reach full capacity by the end of 2016. However, there could be a price for travelers to pay. In its proposal submitted to the government, the airport authority suggested asking those leaving Hong Kong to help cover the cost of the new runway.
Around the world, there are many other airports which also levy airport construction fee to support the airport infrastructure. I think on the basis of user pay principle, this is a very, very fair way of financing this project. In the case of Hong Kong, over 70% of our travelers are foreigners. They use our airport. I think it is reasonable for us, for them to contribute to the cost of this runway.
Evelyn Lang, TVB News.
Turning overseas now, the Obama administration has invited President Xi Jinping to pay a state visit to the U.S. later this year. The announcement was made by American National Security Advisor Susan Rice yesterday.
With China, we're building a constructive relationship that expands practical cooperation across a wide spectrum of issues, from global health to nonproliferation. even as we confront real differences over human rights, cyber-enabled economic espionage, and the use of coercion to advance territorial claims.
The announcement is seen as a further sign of President Barack Obama's policy emphasis on the Asia-Pacific region. Washington has also extended invitations to a number of other Asian leaders, including Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. The president was last in the U.S. in 2013 for an informal summit with Obama. The pair also met at the APEC meetings in China last year. All pilots who operate TransAsia Airways ATR propeller jets have begun proficiency tests days after one of Taiwan carrier's ATRs crashed into a river in Taipei, killing at least 40 people. 3 people are still missing. The airline says it's cancelled 90 flights over the next 3 days to accommodate the requirement by Taiwan's aviation authorities. Preliminary investigations indicate the pilots of Wednesday's doomed flight shut off a running engine of the ATR after its other engine went idle. Aviation experts say it was an error which may have contributed to the crash.
The parents of an American hostage being held captive in Syria by Islamic State have expressed hope that their daughter is still alive. That's despite claims that she was killed in a Jordanian airstrike against the militant group. And so another Islamic State hostage catches the world's attention. This time the focus is on American Kyla Jean Mueller, whose parents held out hope she's still alive, despite claims from her captors that she was killed yesterday in a Jordanian airstrike on an Islamic State weapons dump in Syria. Jordan expressed doubt about the militants' claims, saying it would be unusual for a hostage to be held in an arms depot, and questioned how Islamic State could identify which nation was sending warplanes to bomb it. A large demonstration was held in Amman yesterday to express Jordan's disgust at the horrific execution of a captured Jordanian airman by militants last month. Amman has vowed to increase strikes against Islamic State in retaliation. Mueller is the only known remaining American hostage held by the group, which controls wide areas of Syria and Iraq. Islamic State has beheaded at least 3 other Americans, 2 Britons and 2 Japanese hostages, most of them aid workers or journalists, in recent months. US officials said they could not confirm whether Mueller had been killed.
I cannot confirm those reports in any way.
Do you know?
Obviously, people are looking into them, but cannot confirm them. But I will say, broadly, our team in this building and across the U.S. government are putting every effort behind finding any Americans being held overseas, every intelligence tool, diplomatic tool.
Mueller began working as an aid worker soon after graduating from university in 2009. She relocated to the Turkish-Syrian border in 2012 to help Syrian refugees, and was taken by Islamic State while leaving a hospital in the Syrian city of Aleppo in 2013. Her parents said they had previously remained silent about her capture out of concern for Kyla's safety, and had followed the militants' instructions concerning their daughter.
The leaders of Russia, Ukraine, France and Germany will try to arrive at a ceasefire agreement for eastern Ukraine in a phone call tomorrow. This comes amid urgent shuttle diplomacy to end the recent intensification of fighting in the region. Alan Bugnier reports.
German Chancellor Angela Merkel and French President François Hollande had a hastily arranged meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin yesterday. While it's not clear how much, if any, progress was made, all sides called the talks constructive. It came a day after the French and German leaders met with Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko in Kiev. Following the meeting in Moscow, a spokesman for Putin said tomorrow's phone call will center around September's failed Minsk agreement that calls for a ceasefire and release of all hostages. It's believed the plan being put forward by Germany and France would take into account new territory seized by rebels since then, without Ukraine having to give up its claim to the area. Meanwhile, at a major security conference in Germany, NATO's chief said it will strengthen its military presence in Eastern Europe in response to what it sees as Russia's increasingly aggressive support of the rebels in Ukraine, something Moscow has repeatedly denied.
Russia has isolated itself by its own actions and its own choices. Nobody forced Russia to annex Crimea, and nobody is forcing Russia to destabilize Ukraine. Russia bears the responsibility for the dangerous situation in which we find ourselves.
U.S. National Security Advisor Susan Rice added that further sanctions against Russia are a distinct possibility.
Russia's aggression against Ukraine is a heinous and deadly affront to long-standing international law and norms. In lockstep with our European allies, we have built a coalition of partners around the world to impose steep political and economic costs on Russia.
In Ukraine, fighting has escalated so much in the Donetsk region that government and separatist forces agreed to allow a humanitarian corridor for a convoy of buses to evacuate people from Debaltseve. The town is a key railway hub under Ukrainian control. If the rebels seize it, it would provide a link between their two strongholds, Donetsk and Luhansk. Alan Brookney at TVB News.
And still ahead in our news tonight. The government to buy more jabs to fight flu outbreak. The people of New Delhi vote in key elections. And James Harden and the Rockets shoot down the Bucks.
It's America's favorite battleground.
Today, we're here to win you over.
Who will be the last one standing?
And you just hit the peak. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Yes! Tonight, America's Got Talent, Season 8, at 8:30 on Pearl.
Tai Chi is a healthy exercise. Yet doing Tai Chi in public administration is not healthy at all. In local slang, it means shirking responsibility or not giving people the help they need. In other words, maladministration. Let's say no to that. To complain against government departments and public organizations, please call the Office of the Ombudsman.
流線嘅外形、智能式嘅操作、糅合匠心獨運嘅磁形烹調技術。鍛造出7毫米厚嘅鑽石金鍋，提升導熱性能，配合雙重真空壓力技術，煮出粒粒香軟煙韌靚飯，就係東芝嘅雙重真空壓力磁應電飯煲 ，Toshiba Leading Innovation。
The time now is 7:43. The time check was brought to you by Seiko.
I'm back tonight with more local news. 6 more people have died of flu, raising the number of dead in the current outbreak to 140. And as part of efforts to fight the virus, the government plans to buy more jabs. Liz Yoon reports.
As the number of serious flu cases continues to rise, Health Chief Ko Wing-man said today the government plans to buy 10,000 more flu jabs. A new vaccine targeting the H3N2 virus won't be available for a few more months. The Secretary for Food and Health said the manufacturer is willing to produce extra vaccines, but the amount won't be large. Elderly people are the most vulnerable in the current outbreak, and many of them have received intensive care. But the Center for Health Protection does not see the need to suspend classes at this stage.
For those who have fever, cough, or running nose, or any other sign of communicable diseases, they should stay away from schools.
Leung also called on schools to